Hey guys, thanks for joining me for another Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia video. Today we're going to do a character guide on Arciela. So Arciela just got her FR and BT. I'm pretty excited about her. She's going to be a very, very good character. Pretty much the only thing she's missing is force charging, but man, the rest of her kit I think really makes up for it. She's got a lot of really good things to look forward to, including a couple of nice perks I even forgot to shout out during the Should You Pull. So we'll talk about those here, but even more reasons to pull for her that I think she's got a lot of value. So in this video, we're going to talk about her calls, her artifacts, and her spheres. If you're not familiar with Arciela, she's a big-time support slash debuff character. So she's kind of like a dual role in one. She has a lot of battery and healing, but then she also can do a lot of debuffing that really shut down the enemy. So I think she's going to be a really nice character to pick up. And I think one of the golden gems of her kit is her FR. Like everything her FR is doing is so good, and her BT is really spicy as well. So let's hop into it, and let's talk about how Arciela is looking here, right? So the first thing is we have her calls. Her calls are actually quite good. The main thing being, one of the best parts about her kit is that she gets HP attack disable, and you can actually get access to that on the call. That's very good. That's one of the things we want to bring calls for, is for defensive capability. So when you do this 15, this Dissension and Sight Unseen, you're getting a Max Brave and Speed Down debuff. You're also getting HP attack disable. And then on both of her calls, she gets Capacity Break, which is the really good thing that makes it so that enemies can't Brave Gain. So like you're getting HP attack disable and anti-Brave Gain all in that one button, which is really nice. And then the LD will just be another button you can press for Capacity Break to stop the Brave Gaining. So yeah, her calls are actually quite good. For sure, definitely a lot of use for those there. Let's go ahead and look at her artifacts and her spheres. So for her artifacts, I would go Attack 108 and Sword Maiden boost 2-star. Sword Maiden boost 2-star is going to give Eye Brave and Max Brave. Now, being that she is a battery character, I do think like Eye Brave, Max Brave, like these things can work as well on her. She does. Here's the thing with her though, like when I'm looking at her Brave gains and like her kit and stuff, right? I don't see a lot of things that necessarily scale on Max Brave, right? A lot of her Brave gain is actually based on the HP damage she steals. So the more HP damage you can do with her, the more that she's going to battery and kind of help the party. So in that sense, like Brave gain and attack can kind of be actually really good on her. Max Brave is good too, because that can help you gain more Brave and then in turn like give more to the party. So she's kind of interesting, and there's a lot of ways you can build her, because like Max Brave is solid just to have more Brave to gain into. Eye Brave is actually a solid stat on her, and you can see her Sword Maiden boost does give Eye Brave and Max Brave, right? So they're kind of telling you like you could go battery route with her, because Eye Brave will still give you the natural like Brave gains and stuff that Eye Brave does. And the other thing, okay, so the other thing we got to point out with her with Eye Brave. So for those of you unfamiliar with Eye Brave, I should probably explain this mechanic a little bit. Eye Brave stands for Initial Brave. And the way the Eye Brave mechanic works is like if you are broken, right? There's like there's like a turn cooldown that happens, and then on your turn, your Eye Brave will kick in and help you gain Brave. This is kind of like what the enemies do. Or anytime you start your turn, you'll get some initial Brave from that, right? So what she has in her kit is one of her buffs makes it so her Eye Brave kicks in sooner, and you're going to Brave gain more off of that. So like Eye Brave is actually a nice stat for her on that. She just doesn't show it like other characters where she has things directly scaling on Eye Brave and Max Brave in her kit. But they do, like, just know that Eye Brave is a good Brave gain stat to have on a character that's doing Brave gain. So there's a lot of ways you could go. You could go Eye Brave and Sword Maiden boost. You could go Max Brave, Sword Maiden boost. Or you could go attack. And honestly, any of them can kind of be equally good in different ways. It just depends on how you like to use her. I would say, you know, you could build out multiple versions of this and kind of decide what you like best. Honestly, you're not going to notice a huge difference between the three. I mean, if you got her fully built out, you got Crystal Room or whatever, the little bit of stats you get from this, whatever stat you're going to choose is going to be fine. So I'd say as long as you do attack, Max Brave, or Eye Brave there. But she is kind of a unique character where she can actually benefit from all three stats, I would say fairly equally, right? So then we'll keep that in mind, you know, going into the spheres here. So A slot, I think Brave damage gets a little bit more out of her because once again, getting more Brave damage to help her deal more HP damage is good because a lot of her battery is going to scale on that. Or attack is fine too. I happen to back in the day put the Zban on there. I think you really can't go wrong with just attack or Brave damage on her, which is fine. You could now with Arciela, you do have the option though to go like attack Max Brave combo or attack I Brave combo, right? So like I Brave, you know, on an A slot, there are some A slots that'll give that. So you definitely could go into it. So actually, I'm going to just on the spot here, just throw out some suggestions in case you want to do a little bit of I Brave on the A slot, right? So if you're going to go Brave damage, which I actually think is probably her best in slot, you know, Kuja you could use because she does do AoE. I think Cloud is a nice one. I think Gao is a nice one. Actually, Edgar's really premium on her because, you know, she's debuffing, so she's going to fill that. So I recently talked about these on the previous character guide because Brave damage is also really good there, right? Now, in terms of I Brave, I want to hit up some I Brave ones for you guys. So attack and I Brave, I think, so you're looking at like Machina, you're looking at Jekt, Lightning is solid, it's a build-up one. The rest of them she can't like trigger very well, so I'd say Lightning, Jekt, and Machina if you want to get some I Brave in attack. I think that's actually a solid one you could do. And then another attack and I Brave one you could do is Caius. So there are some options out there, and I think Arciela is, once again, as long as you're hitting attack, I Brave, Max Brave, Brave damage, like combos of that, like you're going to be fine. Those are all good options there. I would say the Vaughn I have is not the optimal one, but 10% attack, like you can't go wrong with that. Then on the C slot, you have some options here. She does heal a lot, right? So Maria and Lude, those are probably your premium ones. I think Alphanod would work too. Those are like your party attack up ones. And those have I Brave on them, right? So like those are actually like really nice ones you could use. I happen to put her own on her because I do think that like Brave gaining spheres are very good. And this sphere specifically does gain off of I Brave. So if you want to do a C slot like this, they're showing you that I Brave is a nice stat to use on her. So I did just put her own there, which I think is fine. And I don't think Arciela's damage is going to be crazy. I don't think, we'll see, I might get surprised here, but I don't foresee her being like an Ignis where she's going to be able to like carry the DPS for the team. I think she truly is going to fill her role as support debuffer and do like average damage is what I'm expecting out of her, right? Because she doesn't get any like crazy BT follow-ups or anything like that. And then on the E slot, the big thing you want to probably avoid with her is she is already carrying, I think, 3 debuff slots, and enemies get 8 slots, okay? So typically on heavy debuff characters, you want to avoid E slots that will add additional debuffs because you don't want to be too cloggy with it. But she does have some important things in her kit where you do want the enemies to have 8 debuffs at all times if you can. So you have to team build around that and make sure that within the team you're trying to fill those other 5 debuffs, or you're bringing calls that can do it. In that sense, if you know you're going to use her with maybe not very debuff heavy teams, I suppose you could add another debuff onto her. But I would probably just go, and you could add like an attack one. So you could do like Yuffie, Seymour, or something like that. Or like Emperor, I think is another one. But those are like, if those are going to be more limited, unless you have like a lot of spares of those types of spheres, you'd want to put more on damage dealers. So I think she's a character where I would just have fun and just add extra tech to her kit. So I went ahead and I did Ferris to add poison to her. Because part of her role is disruption, shutting down the enemies. To me, adding this extra poison on there just helps her shut down the enemies more. And it's further emphasizing what her kit is already doing. So it's like, to me, it complements her kit nicely. And it's adding an extra element to her kit without actually eating up a debuff slot because this is an aura poison. So I think Ferris is actually like a really, really nice pick there. So that's kind of what I went with on that one. And then with that, yeah, let's just go ahead, hop into the showcase and see how she's looking here. So I have kind of an interesting team comp. I want to bring Aerith because Arciela has a very insane echoable thing to use, which I really, really like. So you can echo on her FR really, really well. And then I'm bringing Sarah. Now, I haven't brought out Sarah in a while. But the reason why I want to bring out Sarah is a debuff-centric character that can complement her nice and help fill out those 8 debuff slots. And sure, let's bring another Aerith friend. And then I also have like my Raijin Rydia calls. And the way my team is set up between Sarah and Arciela, I'm filling 7 debuff slots. So I figured then what it will be is Raijin will be the 8th slot. And then I'll have Rydia as a slot as well if I need to, right? So we're going to start off here with Arciela. So we're getting a free skill use off the bat here. Actually, that might be... I'm pretty sure that's from the... No, I think she does get it. I'm pretty sure... See, I'm going to be throwing myself off here. Oh, yeah, because here's the thing. With her, I got to keep in mind how Crystal Room plays into this, because I'm used to running, like, with red crystal characters. I have a crystal that's giving me, like, free skill use first turn and a free turn. But she's white crystal. I do not have that bought for white. And I do remember now she does get a free skill use, and she gets double turns right away, because she is a stance-based character. And typically with stance-based characters, they give you the opportunity to choose a stance and kind of go into it, right? So let's go ahead and let's start with Dissension and Sight Unseen. I think I want to start with this one. I think I do. Yeah, let's start with this one. So let's do Dissension and Sight Unseen. And you can see the enemies are just loaded with debuffs right away, because we get a lot of start-of-turn debuffs from Sarah. So let's hit this. Let's see what the damage looks like. All right, a mil AoE, right? Like very average damage. But you're going to notice... we got the Big Daddy debuff right away. Oh, they do start with Capacity Break, which is good. But we got the HP Attack Disable. HP Attack Disable, so what we get from the attack we just did, it'll remove her Ascension buff if she has it. So once again, this is how stance-based things work, is each stance gives you a buff. If you use the other stance, it'll erase the other buff and give you a different one. So if you had Ascension on, it's going to take it off, and we're going to get Descension. So Descension is going to be an attack up, max brave up, a party attack up, and an enemy speed down. Okay, so I refer to this as kind of her debuff stance or her more offensive stance. It applies a debuff that is max brave and speed down in one debuff slot. So it does max brave and speed, but it's one debuff slot. And then she gets the 2-turn attack disable. Attack disable is awesome, or HP attack disable is amazing, because if an enemy attempts an HP attack, it will let them not act. And this Rex fight, these enemies do like to HP attack, so we should hopefully see that in action, okay? So now that I'm in that, we have a unique HP attack called Darkest Hour. So what's nice about her is you don't need to spam skills all the time. You can use the HP attack. So let's try Darkest Hour. This comes from her current stance. We'll see what the damage looks like here. All right, 750k. Not the craziest. I think she's too, like, in today's age, you probably won't have to use her HP plus attacks, but back in the day, you had to. Let's go ahead with Aerith now. We're going to do her setup with BT right away. By the way, guys, this team is going to echo, like, insanely. And this is what I find so valuable about Arciela. Not only the HP attack disable, all this other stuff, even though she doesn't have force charging, she has a crazy FR condition that's very easy to meet. And she is, I believe, the first character since Aerith. She has an instant turn FR that's going to start us at 180, and then she can just free ramp and echo just like Aerith is, right? Now, there are other characters that have this, like Penelo does, but she hasn't got her echo yet. So I think this is the first echo character since Aerith that gets the force that starts at 180, and then it's instant turn and you can do it again. So all of these shenanigans I've been showing with Aerith, you can now do that with Arciela instead. It's just that she herself doesn't force charge. But like I could bring Iggy, right? And do the same thing I do with Aerith. Or what if I did, I don't know, Iggy, Aerith, and Arciela, like we're going to ramp for days. It's almost like overkill on the ramp, right? We probably don't need that much. But yeah, it's kind of crazy. All right, so let's go ahead with you. And let's drop, I kind of want your BT effect just up right away. So let's do it. We'll get Sarah's BT effect up right away. And then by the time I get into Arciela's BT effect, I just want to make sure that the enemies are full of debuffs. Alright, so we'll let these guys roll and do their thing. Okay, and they're going to go ahead and attack. Nothing there. This is supposed to be a brave attack. So if they actually do get to attack with HP silence on, it means they didn't attempt an HP attack, right? Okay, so that's kind of like the first stance, right? Let's go ahead and show the second stance, which is Dissension and Sight Unseen. Actually, do I want to go... I was going to say, maybe I just want to go into a burst phase, but no, we'll just do it. So let's go into... sorry, we have to go into Ascension and Expunge Magic. So let's hit this button. So this is going to be more of like her support stance. Okay, so she's going to do that. And yep, we're about 1 million AoE, so pretty average damage, same as what we saw in the other one. So this removes the Dissension buff and gives her the Ascension buff. So now Ascension is a max brave up, party attack up, eye brave up, and brave regen. So this stance is definitely more geared towards brave gaining and support, whereas the other stance is a little bit more aggressive on like party attack, doing speed down on the enemies and getting the debuffs, right? So what you get on this is you brave gain, you heal the party, so this is where some of the heal comes in. This also dispels enemy buffs, which is very good, and it's important that she has that because you're going to need to make room to make sure you can fill it with 8 debuffs, right? And then she also gets a buff called Fast Cast. And what this does is it makes it so your party's current brave raises to eye brave sooner after HP attacks and breaks. So this is the eye brave mechanic. It just speeds it up. So that's really, really cool. And another reason why you might want to go eye brave stats on Arciela, but she has actually a buff. And it's very unique. I don't know that another character I've seen that buff. Something that speeds up your eye brave mechanic is very, very cool, right? Once again, that's just the natural brave gain you get when your turn starts. With you now, let's go ahead and hit this. Because I believe with Sarah, this helps frame her debuffs, I believe. We want to get some more frame stuff going on. And we got the lightning follow-up. Nice. Oh, yeah, we got it all framed now. Very good. All right, and they're at 7 debuffs, which is good. Now we are going to start to ramp. I actually kind of want to beat these guys. And I think we will jump into Arciela's FR on the next turn. And you're going to see some insanity when this pops here. Except they're just jumping up and stealing turns from me here. Let's go and ramp again. I think I'm going to need one more, but then I think we'll be good. So let's go ahead. Oh, she lost her turn. Okay. Oh, that's right. These enemies delay. I do have her EX, actually, that we could hit. And I did bring that for more Dispel. Sure, let's do the EX since we have it. This is called Naqual's Vengeance. And this is another healing button here. So let's see what the damage looks like. Okay, we got the nice break. All right, 2 mil AoE. That's pretty good for the EX. That I would say is actually very solid AoE damage. We'll take that. All right, and let's go through the EX really quick. So this heals the party scaled on her max HP, actually. She brave gains between HP attacks, and then does another battery based on the HP damage she deals. And she gets a buff called Heirloom. This Heirloom buff is an attack, max brave up, HP damage up for herself. And then for the party, we get brave regen, which does scale on eye brave. So another eye brave stat there. Brave damage up and HP damage up to the party. So definitely a button you want to press. The thing with Arciela is she's a slower character. So to compensate for that, her EX does charge quite fast. I think you can use her EX like every other turn. It's just her turns don't come around very often because she's pretty slow, right? So let's go ahead. I think I want to do Steel Evil here. I think I do. Make sure we don't have any shenanigans with the enemies. All right, and then we'll do the Sarah turn, and then we should, yeah, we're going to be ready. They might hit their force too, which is fine, because they just do the thing where they heal. Let's wound them here. Make sure we got all of our debuffs reapplied. Perfect. All right, so we've got 7 debuff slots. They're going to enter their force, which is fine. Go ahead and do it. Okay. So what I'm going to do, what do I got for... I mean, sure, we can hit this just to fill the debuff slots. Let's do it. All right, now we've got 8 debuff slots filled. We are going to go into force time. This is called Happy Cooking. And we're partnering up with Queena here. We'll do that. So once again, this is an instant turn rate. And these instant turn rate echoes, once again, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but I'm pretty sure Aerith is the only one on Global that has this. And it's been a long time. And I think they spread it out because they know how busted this is. So we start at 180 because her FR doesn't actually deal damage. It doesn't attack, right? Instant turn. It batteries the party scaled on her attack. So this is a big battery scaled on attack. And then it heals the party and we get overflow healing. So you can see our HP is really high. And then this is what's great about her. And you guys know how much I love this. This is pretty much a free 80% with Arciela. You attack while the enemy has no buffs on. And once again... one of her debuffs, which we haven't talked about yet, stops the enemies from buffing themselves. So the enemies won't be able to do that. And then if I take an action while an enemy is debuffed, it's another 40%. So basically the enemies have debuffs and no buffs, you get 80%. Now, and I do believe you don't have to attack to trigger this. I tested it out beforehand. So instant turn, right? So in theory, if I echo with her, this shouldn't deal damage, and it should give us a 160 gain, which is the really insane gains that Aerith can do. Now, here's another character that can do the FR shenanigans of Aerith, but she's maybe a little bit more updated, right? So there we go, 165. Huge, ridiculous gain, right? All right, so now we've got her up again. I guess it's time for BT effect. And you can see her EX is already up, like, instantly. So with Arciela, even though, and I haven't done, well, I did do her other stance, you probably aren't going to have to use her HP attack because you're going to be able to spam buttons, and then every other turn you're hitting the EX anyways, which is pretty good damage. So I think you can probably ignore her HP plus attacks, to be honest. So, yeah, let's get the BT rolling. This is where things get nasty. Two of the things I forgot to point out during my Should You Poll. One is I talked about how good the FR conditions were, but I forgot to mention that her FR is instant turn and she gets the crazy, like, Aerith stuff, right? But then on the BT effect, there was an important part that I forgot to emphasize. I think I, like, loosely mentioned it, but I think I forgot to emphasize how insane this is. It's only a 6-turn BT effect, right? But what it does is, the BT effect is what makes it so they can't gain buffs, so that's part of it, so they can't buff. We get the normal BT auras, so brave damage up, brave damage limit, HP damage, and HP damage limit. But the thing that's crazy about her is the party gets true HP damage, and it's very similar to like how Vice works. But Vice does 10%, and we've seen how busted Vice is. Hers is 2% per debuff. So if the enemies are fully debuffed, you're getting a 16% true HP damage. So now every party member is going to be hitting extra true HP damage. So while we've got it, I guess, let's grab this second Aerith. Now watch this. Aerith should be echoing like crazy. These should also be 160s. So we'll go ahead and try it out. And this should be 160. It is, perfect. So that's really good because I've had, because there's other characters that'll do like X percentage based on how many debuffs are on the enemies, but those require you to attack because it needs to know which enemy you're hitting to calculate the number of debuffs. What's so great about this is just saying if any enemy has no, or if, yeah, while an enemy has no buffs or while any enemy is debuffed. So what could happen is if the right enemy had a debuff, and the left enemy didn't have any buffs, even if one of the enemies is buffed, I think as long as a enemy exists without a buff and a enemy exists with a debuff, you get the full percent. It's actually pretty freaking easy. And once again, I talked about this in my Should You Poll. Attacking echoes are going to be 100%, which is the max you can get. And these non-attacking ones like Aerith are going to be 160. So just look at how quick we are just ramping up when we essentially now have... Well, with a friend unit, we have 3 Aerith FRs basically operating on the team with 160% gains. I mean, you can see why we do not need Leonora cheats to get high gains. Like, we just don't need it at this point with all of these characters. And then the friend Aerith will hit her BT effect. So now we're operating under double Aerith and Arciela. This is kind of crazy. And it's to the point where the second Aerith is going to be over buffing, or, you know, over HP up on the gauge here. It's just like mega overkill. All right, so these enemies will go. Now, we actually don't have the HP silence down, which is fine. Oh, so got to continue with the BT, though, like how ridiculous this is. We'll let these enemies attack here. Okay, and just let this kind of go through. So we're not operating with the HP silence. But that's okay, because you can see they're doing no damage to me anyways. But with the BT effect, too, it also makes it so your debuffs don't decrease. So what's going to happen is her HP silence is just going to sit there if you have it on, which is awesome. So that's another bonus of the BT effect, which is amazing. So yeah, here's my Aerith. And you're going to see here, we're going to pop this once, and we're pretty much going to be there. So, like, I don't think I've ever done this before in a showcase, where I've gotten the gauge up so quick that I actually don't even need to use... Yeah, look, I'm already at max. Like, I have an extra Aerith force sitting there that I actually is pointless to hit because I'm already at max gauge. Like, how fast we built that up is just insane. We'll seal evil again. Now, we're definitely not going to kill these enemies because they have one of those annoying force times where they just heal back most of the damage, but that's fine. That's good because I can get time to showcase her, right? So I think with that, let's just go into like an Arciela burst phase now, and we can just kind of show off and look at some damage under triple BT effects, everything rolling, right? So let's go ahead and hit her LD. We haven't shown that yet. Yeah, look at all the true HP damage coming through, man. So it was 23 mil AoE, and we can see what she can do, you know, under full gauge here for like quite a bit. So 23 mil AoE is very good. The LD we just did, and it's full HP damage. So if that's in a 3-target fight, 23 mil to 3 targets is actually pretty dang good. Her LD does give her a skill use back of skill 1 and skill 2, and it extends all of her debuffs by 1 turn that are on the enemies. And then this puts capacity breakdown, which is that really important debuff. So capacity break makes it so Arciela does 20% more HP damage, only her though, and it prevents the enemies from brave gaining. Now I talked about this before. It's not a freeze, because freeze means they can't gain brave at all. The way Arciela's works is the enemies can still gain brave on their eye brave when they unbreak, and they still can gain brave when they attack you, but they can't battery themselves. So they can't just do an attack that says I gain a bunch of brave and then attack you. They can't do that. So it is really nice. You can get it for 8 turns. So now we can do the EX again. Let's see what the EX does at max gauge. Try that out. So once again, and we're getting all the healing and battery we could need. Yeah, 25 mil AoE, man. And that EX is going to be popping off very regularly. By the way, Arciela isn't a character that you would want to use her burst phase. She's for sure a character you just hit that green BT effect and let other characters kind of go crazy. Arciela would be a good example of like a pairing you could do with like Cisne and then put like a turn hogger in, because Arciela is the kind of character with her 6-turn burst effect that's relatively short. She's a character you let sit back there, let your main damage dealer abuse the true HP damage and just go crazy. So I think she is really nice. And once again, having that abusable echo and that force, very, very, very nice. Sure, let's just hit her 15. So once again, this is her. This would like dispel their buffs. It does a little bit of battery, does some healing. Yeah, even 17 mil on that. It's like very good damage for what she is, right? And the party just getting the true HP damage is just like a cherry on top. So once again, she has the big flaw that she doesn't force charge, but like she's got so much else, it makes up for it. And I think her force alone, the fact that she has that instant turn force is so huge to me. It just makes such a huge difference, right? So sure, we can hit her HP plus just because she's out of like skill uses we can do. We'll take it. And then, I mean, hitting her FR here isn't, you know, you don't want to do that during a burst phase because you get nothing from it. So sure, well, HP plus, HP plus again. Sure, we'll take it. All right, and then we'll let that burst go off. But yeah, that's pretty much Arciela. So you guys can let me know what you think of her. But to kind of summarize, right, she's got her HP silence debuff stance. She's got her her kind of battery stance, right, that heals and it dispels. The nice thing about her, like her stance, it really only affects the specific buff you get, but you can put HP silence on and then move to her other stance and they'll keep the HP silence, right? So that's really, really nice. Insane force effect. You get that instant turn force, the 160 gains. Haven't seen it since Aerith. That's very valuable. Very free and easy 80% that any character in the game can trigger. We've seen with Iggy. We've seen with Pinello. We've seen with these characters, Rosa, like how valuable that is. I've abused that quite a bit. Yeah, just a very, very nice character. The HP shutdown mechanic, the Brave Gain shutdown mechanic. She's just doing a lot. So you guys let me know, but I think Arciela is an excellent pickup. Oh, and don't forget that 16% true HP damage. Pretty dang good. So let me know what you think. Thanks for watching. We'll catch y'all on the next one.